Trelawney. Hit FM is owned and operated by Communistation Company Limited, located in Stuart Castle, Duncan's Trelawney, Jamaica. We broadcast on FM 96.7 locally and is heard worldwide on fitfmja.com. Our mission is to amplify diverse voices and opinions, inform, educate, entertain, and engage listeners of all ages and lifestyle while promoting responsible community development. Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music.
Cultural Mix, an exciting radio show identifying and showcasing cultural diversity across the world through music, interviews, and lively discussions. Join Bev Moonchild on Fit FM 96.7, Fridays 6 to 8 p.m. Cultural Mix, everything cultural. Tune in. Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music.
You've got to give this. I'm standing 10 feet. Never let the system get you down.
Know your roots, know your culture. You're in tune to Cultural Mix with Bev Moonchild and Fit FM 96.7. Fridays 6 to 8 p.m. I'm Mara Sedat.
You've got to give this. I'm standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 feet tall. I'm standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 above them all. Things may not be like you want them to be, yes, so be wise, you got to tread carefully. Well, there may be obstacles in your way. Just remember, Rome wasn't built in one day. I'm standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 feet tall. I'm standing 10 feet.
This is Fit FM 96.7. Duncan's Trelawney.
Above them all. Living in this world of inequality, just make sure you keep your sanity. Yes, facing all kind of constraints every day. In this life, your dues you've got to pay. Yes, I'm standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 feet tall. Well, I'm standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 feet tall, standing 10 among them all. I'm standing 10, I'm standing 10 feet tall. I'm standing 10, I'm standing 10 feet tall. Standing
10 feet tall, standing 10 feet. Standing 10. Wait, so may I come. 10 feet. We are standing 10 feet tall, and why not? We are here this evening for a cultural mix, and we want to say thanks to the people who are tuned in already. I see K, present Miss Bev. Thank you, Kay, for always being here, ever present, ever faithful, ever sure. Yes. And thanks everybody who is planning on joining. So once you're here, you're going to share it with others. Yes, share it so other people can join quickly because we have an interesting show lined up for you this evening. Yes, it is Friday. It is November what? 20 26. Yes, man, the time coming down nicely. The year come down, by the time we quit the year done. And 2022 will be upon us as a quint. It is Friday. It is your show, Cultural Mix. And of course, we are here in the studio of Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music, and the AC cowl. You see me, I have a full up and already. Yes, man. The AC is kicking. We love it. We love it. We love it. We can warm up for the AC, but when it's hot, it's a different kettle of fish. So we're warming up, and we're really, really thankful for you joining us this evening, and we are thankful. We're grateful to be here. We are going to be talking with our guest. He's already ready for us, and I'm sure that persons who have concerns, who texted me with their queries and so on, those will be answered as we move into the discussion with our guests in a little from now. It has been a week that at the end of today, I'm going to touch a little on something I read, that there's a new variant out now. And this variant, it is said, is terribler than the Delta variant. How we're going to go through this, your guess is as good as mine. And lockdowns, it would seem, is going to be coming. Chaos in some airports as travelers from South Africa. They don't know what to do with them, if they must welcome them or they must ban them, or we don't know what is going to happen. But let us see. It's an interesting time to be alive. So let us be as resilient as we can, knowing that at the end of it all, as Aymara said, we have to stand 10 feet tall. We have to stand 10 feet tall. So we say Akwaba, welcome, of course, to all of you who are joining us on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. We want for you also to share it with your friends so we can get that kind of support that the show deserves. So share, please. Share as best as you can. Howdy, says Shanafi. Howdy, my sister. Glad you're here. Always supporting, and we're grateful for that kind of support. We want for you also, Shanafi, to share with your friends as we talk this evening, Lumi and the Lumi currency, with our guest as he's ready for us. But we have to play some music, not true? And we have to get into the mood, get into the groove of Cultural Mix, your Friday evening show, where we talk, we don't say interview, we have discussions, we play music, and a lot of people join us for the music. And people come for the laughs and the discussion and so on. So we, of course, going to play some music, and then we head on out to talk with our guest who is ready for us. Which one we have lined up there? Scuffler, I am black, and I'm proud of that. My heart is black, and I'm proud of that. And they soon come rhythm.
My heart is black, and I'm proud of that. Hey, whoa. My heart is black, nothing wrong with that. Oh no, hey. Once I was a little child, I used to hear the Bingy man them chant all the while. And when me see the Rasta man a forward, me and my friends would I get up and run. But while I'm growing, I'm reading the analytical and also a quest. And I come to the whole conclusion, Rasta principle is all time best. My heart is black, and I'm proud of that. Yeah. Oh, my heart is black, well, nothing wrong with that. Oh no, let your heart be pure and exercise love for sure. Let's demonstrate love and teach the world some more. And if your heart is blue, that's cool with me too. Let's maximize love and show the world that your heart is pure and true. Because once you're born as a human, everyone should be treated equally. I chat through Babylon, come to teach and correct confusion. And above all else, I will never rest till I conquer and wipe out all wickedness. Above all else, I will never rest Every knee shall bow and every tongue confess I'm black. Blacker than black. Whoa. Blacker than black. Once I was a little child, I used to hear the propaganda spread all the while. And when we see the Rasta man a forward, me and my friends would I get up and run. But while I'm growing, I'm reading, be analytical and also a quest. And I come to the whole conclusion, the Rasta principle is all time best. My heart is black, and I'm proud of that. Hey, oh, my heart is black, nothing wrong with that. Oh no, let your heart be pure and exercise love for sure. Let's demonstrate love and teach the world some more. I seek and I search and now I found my true identity. My heart is black and I'm proud of that. Hey, oh, my heart is black, nothing wrong with that. Oh no, hey. Once I was a little child, I used to hear the Bingy man them chant all the while. And when we see the Rasta man a forward, me and my friends would I get up and run. Oh, while I'm growing, I'm reading.
Hey, our guest is on. Yes, that's Scuffler there with the Run Come Rhythm or Soon Come Rhythm. Run Come Rhythm. Scuffler and DJ Snow. My heart is black, and I'm proud of that. Hey. Hey, my heart is, and guess what? I'm very proud that our guest is on. Welcome, sir. How are you?
I'm exceedingly glad to be here.
Yes, and we're happy to have you too.
May I, before I do anything else, it's important that I've been really trying to rush into my abode, and where the internet is steadier and I would have a far better camera. I'm about 2 minutes away from the house. As you understand, I'm traveling from Kingston into Portmore.
Okay.
And today is Friday, so the traffic is great. So I'm about a minute away. So what I know, in the middle of the interview, I will change to my laptop, which will give a better camera, better image, and so on and so forth. Better quality. But for the purposes of what we need to do, we can continue.
Huh?
So we will just simply do for now the proverbial thing in the. Hello?
Yes, you're kind of going out, and just now you went off. I was saying we could spare that minute or two. We play some music, and then you come back with us as you settle nicely in your home where the internet is stable. So he's not hearing there, having a little difficulty there.
My true identity.
I say I'm about 5 minutes away.
My heart is black, and I'm proud of that. Hey, oh, my heart is black, nothing wrong with that. Oh no, hey. Once I was a little child, I used to hear the Bingy man them chant all the while. And when we see the Rasta man a forward, me and my friends would I get up and run. But while I'm growing, I'm reading, be analytical and also a quest. And I come to the whole conclusion, Rasta principle is all time best. My heart is black, and I'm proud of that. Yeah. My heart is black, nothing wrong with that. Oh no, let your heart be pure and exercise love for sure.
Cultural.
Let's demonstrate love and teach the world some more.
6 to 8 p.m. with Bev Moonchild and Fit FM 96.7. And with Jody every Friday. Lucky and Shepard.
I am my ancestors' blood, flesh, and bone. Nani Kojo Kwau and Taki. Bloodshed to set us free. Resisted oppressors and traitors, never bow to them tyranny. We are the mountain warriors, traveling a hilly terrains. We are the mountain warriors, treading through joy and pain. Stony got of Spanish town, warriors feet hit the ground, disrespected by the governor. Courthouse burned flat down. Martial law could not contain us. Freedom, that's all on our minds. The journey's long and strenuous. No mountains too hard to climb.
We are the mountain warriors. We are going good. Yes, folks, you are here with us, and it is Cultural Mix, and we are in the studio of Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music. Bev Moonchild is your host at this moment. And guess what? We just kind of sorting out a little challenge that we're having with our guests. Yes, we want him to be in the best position with the best internet and so on. And so we're just sorting that out. In the meantime, we are listening to Mountain Warriors, Sound Their Bang, Aymara, and the Soon Come Rhythm, Scuffler. Run Come Rhythm. Sorry, Snow. Sorry, Papa. Run Come Rhythm. DJ Snow and Scuffler, the producers. This one is Aymara, Sound Their Bang. Make we hear it now, man. Make we hear the song, Sound Their Bang. Of course, that is a tribute to our ancestors, right? Big up yourself, Aymara.
Sound their bang from Lookout Point to a compound town. I am my ancestors' blood, flesh, and bone. Nani Kojo Kwau and Taki, bloodshed to set us free. Resisted oppressors and traitors, never bow to them tyranny. We are the mountain warriors, traveling a hilly terrains. We are the mountain warriors, treading through joy and pain. Stony got of Spanish town, warriors feet hit the ground, disrespected by the governor. Courthouse burned flat down. Martial law could not contain us. Freedom, that's all on our minds. The journey's long and strenuous. No mountains too hard to climb. We are the mountain warriors, traveling on hilly terrains. We are the mountain warriors, treading through joy and pain. To overthrow our enemies, we stand up with dignity. Ancestors as our guide, we won't run or hide. Up, up, mighty people, overcome the evil. Let's fight and push it on. And I got to say, sound the bang, turn it out. From Moortown to Johnstown.
Cultural mix, cultural mix, cultural mix, cultural mix.
This is Fit FM 96.7.
Nani Kojo Kwau and Taki, bloodshed to set us free. Resisted oppressors and traitors, never bow to them tyranny. We are the mountain warriors, traveling a hilly terrain. We are the mountain warriors, treading through joy and pain.
Cultural mix. Every Friday afternoon, 6 to 8 p.m. with Bev Moonchild and Fit FM 96.7. Every Friday, lock in. I shut up.
them have it.
Cultural mix. Cultural mix. Cultural mix.
I still love the girls. Become chick and chip the little boys and girls. Feel that choose your new world. Babylon, you take what is not yours. I still love the nerves. Become chick and chip the little boys and girls. Feel that choose your new world. If Babylon be honest, them would have speak the truth and make the world know say Africa the root. The first garden with all different kind of fruit. Them just a bust for long time banana and shoot. This system of Babylon and Babylon and thief. When them want you know, hey, them will make you see. Information you forget, and them alone a keep. But Babylon for no say silent river run deep. Babylon you take what is not yours. I still have the nerves. Become trick and trip the little boys and girls. Feet that choose your new world. Babylon you take what is not yours. I still have the nerves. Become trick and trip the little boys and girls.
Every Friday we're locked in.
Oh no,
Haters.
no,
Murder.
oh no.
What that one star.
What's going on? Too much bloodshed on the land. Universe, what's going on? Oh no, oh no.
What that one star.
What's going on? Too much bloodshed on the land. Universe, what's going on? Please put down your weapons, hey. What's going on? I can never understand.
Tell me.
What's going on? I'm asking the question, yeah. For a lifetime, the pain you stick like glue. Balance ever take a love one from you. For a lifetime, a jolly taste from you. How can I go on without you? My belly bottom crump when me hear say him gone. It was a drive, but the shot I did turn it on. The next day, me hear say my brother was a mistaken identity. So tell me what's going on. Too much bloodshed on the land. Universe, what's going on? Please put down your weapons, say. What's going on? I can never understand. What's going on? I'm asking this question, yeah. Our faces war and crime. Just the other day, them kill 9. Jaja, I go show them sign. It's like them blind. Mama say her son she can't find. Our faces tribulation. Where is the love of it in the nation? Put on the neck, man, now I hit a gunshot. But mine and envy, them thing never stop.
Enough is stop it.
Oh no.
Stop the badness.
No, no,
Looking on the heart.
oh no.
Stop it.
Understand.
What's going on? We don't know. And we can ask the question, DJ Snow. And, yeah. What's going on? We're asking the question. In Jamaica and in the world, what's going on? Now you're hearing songs from the new project, Run Come Rhythm, produced by our own DJ Snow and Scuffler. Several artists on that. Guess what? It's out and some of the videos are out. Go on YouTube and you'll find them. And guess what? This album is available on all digital platforms. Go out now and support your own. I don't think it costs no whole heap of money. Your pocket won't cry. Your purse won't cry. The bank account wouldn't even feel it one bit. So do a favor. On Sunday, we were having the discussion about supporting our own. And I'm saying we need to think of it really how we support our own. When we do projects, we need to celebrate each other. We need to put the work out. We really need to support each other, because if we do, you know that we are going to be powerful together. But when we kind of splinter, you know, it don't balance off. So let us support each other. Yes, buy from each other, support whatever it is. And we soon will move to that point where, because as we're going to be talking about this currency called Lumi, we are moving to the place where we all gone digital now, and money as we know it may not be how it is in the future, right? So let us start the trading from now, trading with each other. First time people used to call it bartering.
Hello.
I have something that you want, you have something that I want, and we trade. I think we ought to seriously look at how we're going to go back to that kind of arrangement between us as a people. So as I was saying to you earlier, go on all digital platforms and look out for this song on the Run Come Rhythm, right? Imara is on it, Capleton on it, Sizzler on it, DJ Snow on it, Scuffler on it, Richard Stevens on it, Bertus, Tony Tuff. Listen, man, George Nooks. Listen, go out and get the album. It not costs a lot. And support the work that these brothers have put in, and let us see how we can always support each other. It is Cultural Mix, and we are in the studio of Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music. I am Bev Moonchild, your host, and our guest is online. He's ready. He's settled. He's where internet is, and we thank him so much. Thank you, Minister.
Hi.
Brown, how are you now?
I am much better, more relaxed, and ready to go.
Yes, give thanks for joining us. We really appreciate the fact that today was a busy day for you, and we did kind of start wondering if we're going to have him for the interview. But I'm really happy.
No. Once I gave my commitment is ironclad. I would have really hoped that I would have been able to have contacted you a little earlier, but today was sort of a very compact day. But I managed to achieve all the things I needed to have done. But
Give thanks.
Ready and ready to go.
Yes. First of all, let's begin with your name, Kenyamo Brown.
Oh, Lord. You're going deep. Nothing is wrong. It's fine.
Yes,
all the better and more engaging for your listeners to be entertained and informed.
Yes. Is that your birth name? Or you adopted
that
name? Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't adopt it. It was my name from birth.
Okay. Does it have a meaning?
By my parents. My mother and father both told me that my father's eldest, one of his sisters, who he has really shared a very special relationship. Well, he has three actually. And I think he shares a special relationship with all of them. But one who throughout his life he has spent a little bit more time than the others. She was responsible for giving the name. I think that was during the time of the 1970s. My father was deeply involved. May so rest in peace. He left us in 2016, but he was deeply involved in track and field running. He's the pioneer of the San Diego track and field program that we know today that has produced so many Olympians for Jamaica. He himself was an athlete, and he made a promise to himself. He, along with his schoolmate and best friend, John Leiber, former Bar Association president and managing partner of Duncox, that they would go back to San Diego and build a program to be something for Jamaica to be proud of. And they both achieved this. And during the 70s, when it was at the height of the whole consciousness of the Afro consciousness, I think Michael Manley came at the time. His administration was very deeply enmeshed in Afrocentric views and promotion of, with a lot of the progressive legislations and so on. And I think at the time, my father really took on to a lot of African runners who were doing very well and coming to the fore, certainly Abby Bikila, because my middle name is actually Bikela, which is taken from Abby Bikila, who was the first man to win the Olympic marathon back-to-back. I got my middle name. He was from Ethiopia. my name Kenyama was a toss-up between Mama Waldi, who was also a great 800-meter runner from Kenya, and I think another Kenyan runner was Obatie. So they wanted to also, that was one of the names that was in the mix. And I think also it was just at a time during the 70s when African runners were really coming to the fore, like John Adebuwa from Uganda, who became Olympic gold medalist in the 400-meter hurdles, and he did it in a very uncharacteristic way, trained in very unconventional ways, which he really demonstrated the strength of the African, and it really caught the world by storm. And my father was never left out in it, so he made sure I was his second child, and he wanted me to be special. Now I always look at it and say that coming up, I've always been very Afrocentric, I've always been taken on to issues of Africa and my motherland. So I've always I was influenced by many great people, Marcus Garvey certainly, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Frantz Fanon.
Well, from your touch Frantz Fanon, you're gone deep.
Yeah, man, Frantz Fanon, Black Skin, White Mask.
Yes. From your touch Frantz Fanon.
Africa.
Yes, you're gone deep. Yes.
You know,
how Europe
all of these
Walter Rodney.
Walter Rodney, and yes. I studied at UWI, and I'm an unrepentant and Chancellorite, and he was a Chancellorite as well. So
you're kind of gone off track now.
You know, so to tell you the truth, where I'm ending up now is, I believe it is almost destiny, because I think I was given the name, and I have now been afforded the privilege to be the Minister of Foreign Affairs for the state of the African diaspora.
You have taken us right where we want to be, because with that name Kenyama, I was just about to say, well, guess what? It is no coincidence you are here at this place and at this space where you are now, Minister of Foreign Affairs, SOAD. For the person who have been asking.
Before you go any further, I also said that I worked in the foreign ministry in Jamaica. I served as a diplomat for the government of Jamaica and Cuba.
Okay.
So I worked in our mission in Cuba. So I've had
that experience.
Yes, I served as the officer in charge of student affairs. And I really moved from the National Youth Service on to there. And I was recommended for the tremendous work I did in communities, but also I was also bilingual because I have my bachelor's degree in Spanish. But when I completed high school at San Diego High School, the greatest high school in the world.
You're gone off track again.
No, not going off track. I'm very much on track. No, but many things have happened in my life that I just really am always grateful to God, because when I completed high school, my mother heard about an exchange program called AFS. At first, she heard that we could host exchange student from another country, and we hosted a wonderful young lady from Belgium, Kathy Henneman, and we still remain very close today. She lives in Barcelona, Spain. And she went to San Diego. It was a wonderful experience. And my mother felt that she wanted one of her children to have this experience. And, suffice it to say, I was the one. My bigger brother, Pete, who unfortunately had moved on is no longer with us I think a couple of months ago. And he never had any interest in traveling. It wasn't him. It wasn't his forte. So I went, but I had selected the United States of America for me to travel to. And I think, a lot of things happened in between. Just
the dog wants some dinner.
Yes.
Give them some food, yes.
Yes.
Quiet them down, dinner time.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was unable to go to America for a number of reasons, which I am unable to say at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Colombia was a place that no one wanted to go to, and Colombia was reopening its chapter for AFS.
Mm-hmm.
So I became the first Jamaican student to go to AFS, represent AFS in Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
It was a wonderful experience. I never did Spanish at school, never liked it for 1 second. When Spanish class took place, I always tried to find somewhere else to go.
Mm-hmm.
Never did well at it, never passed the Spanish test in my whole life. And here I was in Colombia, living with a family. Nobody spoke English. But it taught me one fundamental lesson is the human resolve and how much we can adapt, as no matter how impossible it seems. We
You would
have
have
the
learned that
wherewithal
at
within
the
us.
beginning or at the where during the experience did
I
you learn
learned it. I certainly learned it. Didn't understand it in the beginning, but midway through it, I started understanding because I realized how much there is different things you do to develop the coping mechanisms to survive. And I think I learned that along the way. One thing I always tell people that when you're in Colombia, I'm a man for the ladies. I love the ladies. So when I'm there, you see such beautiful ladies. So it became a means by which I motivated myself. So if you are interested in ladies, then you must be able to talk to them. And I couldn't speak a word in Spanish. So every night I went home, my little dictionary, started writing my little statements. And, over time, it came.
So what was that catch line that you learned to get the ladies?
I always remember hola, tú muy bonita. Hablar, quiero hablar, speak, which is really does to speak. Me,
me.
So the other amazing thing I remember once. I needed to use a bathroom and it was out of toilet paper, so I needed to say to them I needed that.
So what you said?
I couldn't find to actually.
What did you do? Maybe
and the whole house was in. The whole house was in. Those are some of the idiosyncrasies of
they had to act it out.
Learning a language.
You had to act it out.
Yes, but what's funny at the end of the day, and throughout all of this, when I ended my pro as the first Jamaican to go, it was based on what I did that AFS Jamaica at the time felt way more confident that they could send more Jamaicans there. And I would tell you that what was so amazing about the time was that when I went there in September 1993, Pablo Escobar, who was then the world-renowned drug baron, he was not dead at the time. He was still very much, he was not on the run, but I think he moved from the Cathedral prison and decided that whatever deal he had struck with the government, he wasn't doing it again and moved on, and the country was in whole topsy-turvy. Then he decided to issue a warrant that for anyone who could kill as many police officers, he would pay them, and police officers were dying like left, right, and center. And just that whole scene. Mind you, it wasn't something that had engulfed the whole country. Certainly affected areas that he had a tremendous amount of experience. I lived in Bucaramanga, which was
how long you were there for?
Central. I lived there for 1 year. And I find Colombia to be a very wonderful place. I still maintain a very strong relationship with my host family. Then I see them as my other family and my brothers and mother.
Have none of them ever come to Jamaica?
They came to Jamaica immediately after I returned. They stayed at Jamaica Grand, and my whole family went, and it was a very good gathering, and it was just wonderful. And today I'm seeing on Netflix, you see Narcos talking about all of the things with Colombia, and I keep telling my own children that I was there when all of those things were taking place. I remember when they had apprehended Pablo and they had they had shot him on the roof where he died. I was there in Medellin at the time because at the time they were opening the AFS chapter in Medellin, and I was there as a guest, and I had received the I was a special honor of the mayor of the city of Medellin, and I was there. All of that was taking place, and interestingly, when I returned to Jamaica, there was a whole group of students now ready to go to
Colombia
based on my experience. And
wow.
I can say that one of those students who I had the opportunity to counsel, because I became a counselor. And usually when you're a past AFS student, you counsel those who are going on what to expect, what not to do, how to cope. I didn't have that because I went there as a first student.
What were some of the things you told the students not to do?
I told them
you would warn them against.
I warned them against just food, being very open-minded, understanding culture, understanding, don't make assumptions, just knowing that everything is not going to be the way you understand it. They're not very much different. Food is different. They eat a lot of beef. You have to get used to that, and you just have to know how to cope and just know that you're going to have to operate outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And as long as you get your mind in that kind of mindset, then you will be able to survive. That's when the coping mechanisms start kicking in. And I want to say that one of the students who I had counseled is the wife of the reggae superstar, Mr. Orville Borrell. She's Rebecca Packard Borrell. She was one of the students. So that's
you. Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes,
lovely.
Yes.
So all of that. Go ahead.
No, so we share that interest, and then when I had come back from Colombia, I'd worked on the hotel scene for a little bit at Siboney Ocherius Hotel. Then I went and worked for 1 year at Workers Bank. Then I decided to go to UWI. And when I decided to pursue a degree in Spanish, I ended up meeting her back at UWI doing the same thing. So
look at that, yes.
Life of a way of coming always full circle.
Coming right back. So no wonder you have this position now as Minister of Foreign Affairs.
There you go. So my name.
Tell us what SOAD is.
So SOAD is the state of the African diaspora. So the founding fathers of the African Union. These were these men or these functionaries, these persons were people who were very Afrocentric, as you know, they were Africans, but they saw Africa without borders. And the Africa that they saw moved way beyond the boundaries of the continent itself. And so they felt, and some of these people were, the likes of Kwame Nkrumah, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie, who actually was one of the major proponents of the African Union. And it's not by accident that the actual headquarters of the African Union is actually in Addis Ababa. And they felt that at the time, as per their charter, that there needed to be a state, they had an extra state to be the state of the African diaspora. So it was to be a state without borders, but a state that would be representative of all of the diaspora. So essentially, they understood that through the slave trade, through the transatlantic slave trade, many of the lost children of Africa were removed from the continent and sent over to other parts of the world. Mostly in South America and the Caribbean, Central America, so to speak. As you know, the largest concentration of Africans outside of the continent is really in Brazil. And then next to that would certainly be in the Caribbean as a whole. Then you have North America, places like United States, and then other parts of Central America. And they felt that they genuinely wanted to see a unification of the global African family. So on the charter, they had embedded in it that there was to be a state of the African diaspora. Now, like CARICOM, the African Union's leadership is a revolving chair. So just like CARICOM, from different periods of time, different heads of state of the respective Caribbean country would assume leadership. Well, the same thing happens with the African Union. And I believe it is sometime around 2017, the then head of the African Union, which was the head of state for Mauritania, he had summoned Dr. Louis George Tin, who was the head of a major Black advocacy organization in France called CRAN. He invited him to come and to operationalize for the first time the state of the African diaspora. So it was not to just simply be something written in his charter that was never acted upon. He wanted to see it done. So he made the move. So Dr. Louis George Tin went out. He formed a government. He created an executive with 2 vice prime ministers. He created a parliament with MPs and the head of parliament and a deputy head of parliament. He also created a diplomatic corps with ambassadors, which we consider roving ambassadors.
This was in what year are we talking about now?
This was 2017.
2017.
2017, yes.
Okay.
And a symbolic ceremony was held at the sitting of the African Union at the time, and they had done some announcement, but it was to be a work in progress. The aim of it essentially is to create a structured way in which the African Union could now have interface with her diaspora. So rather than having summits where they are meeting with all the different countries all over the world, to have by the creation of a state of the African diaspora, because let us face the fact, when there's an Africa Caribbean summit, Jamaica, as we understand, Jamaica is out of many one people. We're not only Afro-Jamaicans, they are also Chinese Afro-Jamaicans, they are Syrian Afro-Jamaicans, they are Caucasian Afro-Jamaicans. So they wanted to create a state in which people of African descent could see a way in which they could connect themselves to the state of the African diaspora, and by through this they would be connected to the continent. And that was just the thinking behind it. So for us, we are putting together a government, we are putting together a state without borders, and I think one of the next steps we are moving assiduously to create, we're just going through all of the technical matters that comes with it, which is to establish citizenship. So it is not necessarily a priority. There are some things that are a little bit more important for us at the time, but it's on the books to be done, and it is being worked on as we speak.
You did say it's a state without borders, right?
Yes, it's a state without borders, yes.
So and you're going to have a parliament too, you're going to have ministers.
It's not that we're going to.
You
It's
do
what we have. As I said, Dr. Louis Tin had formed a parliament, he had formed a diplomatic corps.
So where does the parliament sit?
Ministers. We sit virtually.
Oh, virtually.
Because it is people drawn from all over the world. People from South America, North America, Central America, and we even take in persons on the continent, because part of our understanding and belief for the diaspora to harmonize with the continent, it will also take persons from the continent to also aid in this harmonization process that is taking.
How is Jamaica represented on this?
Jamaica is, always, I am learning many things, because one of our ambassadors is a former Secret Service operative for the British.
Really?
Who said to me, we had a very interesting conversation one day. He said, I want you to understand that when Scotland Yard pays a tremendous amount of attention to Jamaicans in terms of crime, but also when they're deporting Jamaicans. Jamaicans are paid very close attention, not because of the crime that they seem to perpetrate. It is because of the power that Jamaicans possess. And
Wow.
he explained to me that he was very shocked that the British at the highest levels could communicate to him that Jamaicans are not very simple people. He explained to me that they had explained to him that the Jamaicans, when they traced the transatlantic slave trade, which the British understand, remember, they played a very, very structured role in this. They said that where the Jamaicans came from, and based on the amount of slaves that went to Jamaica, remember, all of these things are documented by the British.
Yes.
We just don't know it, but they have it documented. And they said that they trace our roots back to the tribe of Benjamin. When you speak of in biblical terms of the 12 tribes of Israel, the tribe of Benjamin. We're extremely talented people. We can be warlike, but we are extremely talented and very leader-centric. We are leaders anywhere we go. No matter how small we are, we lead. When a Jamaican steps in a room, they take charge. The British understand this. And he explained that to me. And so again, I made that point by saying, when he explained to me that it was the emancipation of slavery became something that they had to push for when the rebellions started taking place in Jamaica. It is the rebellions that took place in Jamaica that fast-tracked the agitation and legislation for the proclamation of emancipation. It's also Jamaica was involved in the Haitian Revolution. It was not the Toussaint Louvertures and the Lines and all of these people that they speak of. No.
Bookman.
It was Bookman.
Yeah.
Who left our shores.
And
because the Maroons were, when the Spanish left, some of those slaves that the Spanish had retreated to the mountains and had stayed there and refused to be enslaved anymore. That's where the Maroons started.
We are going to talk about the Maroons, so I'm making a note as we go. We want to go into the Lumi currency.
It's just really to say that, to answer your question,
how is Jamaica represented in the
Jamaica is very much represented, and I'm only just saying that in anything that you think of, always know that Jamaicans are always going to be represented, not in a simple way. The father of the civil rights movement in America is Marcus Garvey.
Yes.
Because it's not until his exploits that really brought Black civil rights movement to the fore. It was with the UNIA.
Yes.
And it took a Jamaican from St. Anne's Bay to do that.
Yeah.
So again, if you ask that question, then you can answer it. The state of the African diaspora has a president, Dr. Louis George Tin, and 2 vice prime ministers. It is Keturah Amoko, who was just recently anointed and appointed as queen. Her name I'm a little difficult to pronounce at the time, but she's Keturah Amoko. But suffice it to say, she is of Jamaican descent.
Okay.
And our second vice prime minister is none other than Mr. Hugh Johnson, who is also Jamaican, also resides in Jamaica, and he's the former president of the Jamaica Small Business Association of Jamaica.
Okay.
And again, in our parliament is headed by Melvin Brown from Panama, who is also of Jamaican descent. Several parliamentarians were of Jamaican descent.
But they now are living in other parts of the world.
they are living in other parts of the world, but
Okay.
understand once we are of
Jamaican,
Jamaican
yes.
descent, we are always connected, We are
I see where you're going, yes.
never disconnected.
Yes,
And in
yes,
our
yes.
parliament, we have several Jamaicans who are parliamentarians. And in the cabinet of ministers, we have approximately we have 3 Jamaicans who are ministers. So in the
How
state
do
of
you
the African diaspora, they are well represented.
how do you go about identifying persons though to be a part of this?
It's a recruitment process.
Mm-hmm.
They are constantly the members of the organization also assist with the recruiting process. They are the eyes and
Okay.
the ears. We have ambassadors on the ground. We have ministers on the ground and also member of parliament. And from time to time, we recruit people. And we recruit people we believe are of a particular ilk that operates in keeping with the mission and what we have for the organization.
So they
that is
first would have had to have that disposition. That's what you're saying?
that sort of disposition, yes. Someone who is, always very progressive, always involved
Okay.
in development of a nation, community, and always that kind of thing. Someone who values advocacy, all of these things.
Okay,
So
okay.
yes,
So
so that is essentially who we are.
the Jamaica representation, the group in Jamaica, is it the group that is referred to as the
No,
or is it
I believe what you're speaking of, the Jamaica Lumineers. No,
okay.
that was created by myself, and let me not take all the credit. I sit at the feet of my leader, Mr. Hugh Johnson, who really recruited me. But I'm happy that I had the privilege and still do have that privilege to be by his side when he created Jamaica Lumineers.
Okay, so before we
It
jump
was to
into
be
the
a special
Luminaries,
purpose vehicle.
right? So we see
Yes, so it was to be a special purpose vehicle. Repeat that.
we see the SOAD, and we see the reasons and the rationale and the objective behind the SOAD. We now want for
SOAD
you,
is SOAD.
SOAD, yeah, SOAD. The we now want the state of the African diaspora. Let us get the words in. We see now why the state of the African diaspora. What I want for us to talk about now is how is the Lumi a part of the state of the African diaspora, and why? And what is the Lumi?
So I think I need to go a step further, because one of the things that is fundamental to what we're doing for the state of the African diaspora is that a lot of our structures, we mimic what exists on the continent. So Africa is divided in 5 regions: North, South, East, West, and Central. And also embedded in the charter, similar as I had indicated earlier, that the state of the African diaspora identified, they had also clearly stipulated in the charter that the diaspora was to be regarded as the 6th region.
Okay.
So as I've indicated, that you have the North, South, East, West, and Central. Those are the 4 regions of Africa. So when we speak of, for example, the West African states, which is said to be the economic engine of the continent, where you have Nigeria, Ghana, and so on and so forth. Those countries have a economic bloc called ECOWAS, which is the economic bloc of the West African states. And then the Southern African states would have their economic bloc that is called SADC. So as per the charter, they had regarded the 6th region as ECO6, the economic community of the 6th region. So it is similar to what we have in CARICOM, where you have the Eastern Caribbean states, they have their own little economic bloc and own currency and so on.
Yeah, yes.
Same thing. So we had similarly established, not it is not so much us, but it was really spearheaded by the inventor and founder of the LUMI, Mr. Timothy McPherson, who has the title of Chief SEMACO. He had started the economic community of the sixth region, which was to represent the economic bloc of the region of the diaspora.
Okay.
So SOAD would be one of the state within the economic bloc. So that is really the structure. So an integral part of the economic bloc was the central bank, which was initially the Central Solar Reserve Bank of a compound. That was the central bank that was integral to the economic bloc, because the central bank was to be the engine of the economic activities, and integral in these economic activities was the LUMI, which the central bank at the time would oversee.
Okay.
So the LUMI was created essentially to be a currency that engendered trade within the
economic bloc.
It was the economic bloc, but also the African community. Because remember, the economic bloc saw at all of these things was really to engender a harmonization of the global African family within the diaspora and ultimately with the continent.
Yes.
So it started there in the Maroon community. It started in a compound. That's where it started. That's where it saw its genesis.
Yes.
And it continued there. But for whatever the reasons, more reasons than one, it had transcended that. Chief SEMACO himself, Mr. Timothy McPherson, is also of Jamaican descent. His mother is from Portland. His mother is a Maroon. She's from Nannytown. In fact, the current chief of Nannytown, Chief Sterling, is Mr. Timothy McPherson's cousin. So that's the connection. He's actually a Maroon. It's not by accident, but he was born in Canada and grew up in Germany.
Okay.
Worked in the international banking system of Europe for many years, and I think after several years of seeing what it is, he believes that it was high time that he left and we created something for us. But he felt that at the time, to create what was needed for the global African family, he saw the Maroon community where his mother came from and where his roots are was to be the starting point. And that was where it started. The charter of the economic community of the sixth region had on it that there was to ultimately be the creation of a central bank that was to be considered the African Diaspora Central Bank. So I think even though it had started with the Central Reserve Solar Bank of a compound, I think the thinking at that time was that whatever the economic activities that were taking place, maybe if all things were equal and had panned out the way they had wanted it, a compound and the other Maroon communities would have their own economic activities taking place. Because the reality of the situation is that many of the Maroon communities do not have really any
kind of economic activity that's happening. Yeah.
Actually. And the same government of Jamaica, who, you see, we get two things. We get an impression that they are autonomous and government must not mess with them because they are autonomous. But at the same time, it is still the same government that is responsible for the roads and responsible for the water and responsible for electricity. If you're autonomous, you would have been providing those things for yourself. But that is not something I honestly and truly want to dwell on, because
we understand
we, as
that.
Part
and
of the sword is we are not about killing anyone or speaking ill of anyone. But I have to be honest, and I really don't. It's not something that I really want to get into. We're aware of some unfortunate comments that are being made, and
I'm glad you have.
We would have really loved for it not to happen, and
but it
we
has
can't
happened.
reverse the hand of time. But it has
happened.
The
And
reality of the situation.
I'm happy that you have touched onto it to kind of.
It would be the white elephant in the room if I didn't.
Make that clear. Bring forth that clarity, because a number of persons, who myself included, who have heard about the Lumi, we heard about the Lumi via the central bank of a compound, and then we hear that there's a disassociation with the Lumi and the central bank of a compound. So I'm kind of happy. Not kind of. I'm quite happy.
So let me just clarify some things, and please, before I go any further, we stay clear from any form of controversy, because we're about the unification of the global African family. We are not about killing anyone. We don't have that amount of time at this time.
And energy, yes.
And energy. We're not about that right now.
But what I'm happy though is that because a lot of us, just give me a second.
Let me make
because many of us would have heard about it. We understand now that whatever it is that happened in that initial stage, it has happened, and this is what is now happening. That. Yeah.
So let me explain.
Yes.
So Chief Semarco, as you know, born in Canada, grew up in Germany, he's of Maroon descent, very much Maroon, family, everything. Worked in the financial system for several years. So naturally, he understands. He's a financial engineer by trade. So he is one of innovation. He saw the Maroon community as a launching pad for his innovation.
I understand.
Before he came, nothing existed before. So it's his intellectual property. He went, did it, worked with them, and overtures were made. Meetings were held with our central bank, and they were not having it. And it is within their right to not want to have it. And so I'm not even about to even knock them.
Yeah.
But suffice it to say, the reality is, at the time, the Lumi was, if they had a fiat version, which is actual banknotes, so to speak, and there was a digital version, because he was also on the cutting edge. At the time, there were no central bank issued digital currency that existed anywhere in the world. So again, this is a innovation that came from our shores.
Right.
So like anything else, I think history have a way of repeating itself. As people would say, the more things change, the more they remain the same. Because when Marcus Garvey had innovated with political thought and Black consciousness and Pan-Africanism, believe it or not, he started it here. We were not prepared to listen to him. The UNIA started here. True or false?
Yes. True.
He had to leave our shores, went to North America, and created a following of over 10 to 15 million blacks.
Yeah.
He even understood the power of media in the 1920s. He created the Negro World publication that was circulated to millions of households right across North America, Central America, South America, and the continent.
Yes. So,
he
Minister,
started a shipping line. So,
as we move away from that activity and that controversy, as I put it, I understand clearly, and I think the persons who are listening understand too what has happened. As we move away, what now happens with this currency called Lumi?
There was a change of administration, but the reality of the situation is, even prior to the change of the administration, the leadership of the central bank, and certainly the Lumi, which is Chief Semarco, he had left our shores. He had left our shores and had gone on to the African continent, because he had understood that there was no future for it here.
In a compound,
Because
right?
if the Bank of for our own Central Bank of Jamaica was not willing to countenance the innovation, then there was no future for it. It would have been dead on arrival.
Yes.
He had
Clear.
left, went to the continent. He had engaged many of the kingdoms, and people have to understand that Africa is structured kind of similar, but in a way more, one could say, a multifaceted way, because like Britain, you have the Queen, you have the government, and they all have their roles to play. Africa is the same thing. So when you think of a South Africa, then you would always think of a Ramaphosa who's the president and on his cabinet and so on and so forth. But South Africa is a little bit more than that. South Africa is also the Zulu kingdom that has a tremendous amount of South Africans that the king oversees and the government maintains.
Yeah.
Then when you speak of a Ghana, when you think of the Ghanaian government, then you would think of President Addo. But he's not the only person. There's also the king of the Ashanti Kingdom, which represents a major part of what goes on. But this is not only the Ashanti Kingdom, there are many other kingdoms. So Chief Samako had left, went on the continent, and there is a federation of kingdoms called the African Kingdoms Federation, who met with Chief Samako, embraced him, and have decided to adopt the
African Queens Federation or Kings?
The African Kingdoms Federation.
Kingdoms,
AKF. It is headed by the Queen of Sheba III. She traces her roots back to the kingdom of Kush. That is South Sudan.
Okay.
She has even a program every Monday online where she talks about the kingdom and what they're doing and plans for the future.
Okay.
And they have adopted the Lumi as their official currency. So the acronym for the Lumi is actually now AKL, which stands for the African Kingdoms Lumi.
The African
and these
Kingdoms
kingdoms have Lumi, AKL, that's correct.
Yes.
And these kingdoms have within them much gold and all of these precious minerals which they have in their ancestral and lands up within their kingdoms. And they have pledged this as the support and backing of the currency.
So this is what is backing the Lumi.
This is what is backing the Lumi, along with the concept of solar energy, which is a major factor also that backs the Lumi. And so
explain for people who are listening, when a currency is backed by actual like gold and silver and, as you say, solar energy, how is it different from the Jamaican dollar that is not backed by anything at all?
The truth of it is, no currency in the world is really backed by anything.
Really?
None. Most currencies of the world are backed by perception.
And that's why they're called fiat currencies.
And that's why they're called fiat. And the reality is that they're backed by perception called gross domestic product. And gross domestic product is a determination of what is in your basket of goods and what determines that, which is a very, it's a process that I find to be not entirely objective.
So that can change anytime.
Precisely. Initially, when currencies started, they were backed by gold. But gold, even the United States currency, I believe under President Nixon, had separated the whole gold from the currency. And it was backed by GDP. In all honesty, it's only 3 currencies of the world that is really backed by its precious mineral resource. And I think it's the Oman Rial, the Kuwaiti dinar, and there's another one. It's slipping me at this time. They use their petroleum industry to back their currency. No
So
other
when
currency
when a
back.
currency is backed by actual something of value,
It
what
is
does
really
it
back
mean to the
in economic sense today. It really means it's backed by the perception. Really, because GDP, as far as I'm concerned, is a perception actually.
No, I'm not talking about the one that is backed by perception. For example, the Lumino that is backed by gold and so on.
So
For
gold
the regular man, explain that to the regular man.
So the regular man, what I'm saying is the African
To
Kingdoms
me.
to you, the African Kingdoms Federation that has now taken the Lumi, and the Lumi is now their official currency. Much of the gold and all of the precious minerals that they have in their kingdoms, it is what they are using to back this currency. They're saying this gold represents this currency represents what they have. So within this kingdom, a lot of the trade that takes place is with this currency. So instead of sending gold, you're sending this currency.
Lumi, okay.
And that is essentially what it is.
Okay.
That is to be the starting point on the continent. Now, one of the things that has happened in 2020 is that Africa, for the first time, has created the African free trade, the African continental free trade area agreement, the African Union, because the founding fathers of the African Union had also envisioned a borderless Africa.
Okay.
A borderless Africa, not necessarily based on sovereignty, but a borderless Africa in terms of political and diplomatic relations, economic relations, socio-cultural relations, if you follow. So this is the first time that they are now acting upon this. And like the European Union that created a union, they had to create a European Central Bank, which was to be the central bank for all the central banks of the different countries. And also they had to create a financial regulatory authority. Africa had to do the same. So Africa created ACB and AFRA, which is the African Financial Regulatory Authority. And both entities have recognized the African Kingdom's Lumi as an official currency of the continent. So whatever it is that may have taken place in a compound, the Lumi has transcended that now.
I understand you now clearly.
Moved on. And so
I understand.
Whatever it is that is taking place is in a compound, respectfully, is immaterial at this time.
I understand you now. For my sake, it is rather clear.
And I sincerely hope your listeners, we respect everyone. We respect the leadership of the Maroon communities, and we must give a special mention to Chief Sterling of Nannytown, who is really giving tremendous support to us, and we continue to support and celebrate his leadership, which shows that he's a visionary. The other leaders, we respect them and we wish only for them the best, and we are hopelessly optimistic and we see for them greater things. Things are happening that we wish would not, but by the grace of God, everything will come together.
Everything, and you're right on that. Now, this Lumi currency that you speak of, I realize that there are Jamaicans who are, what's the word now? Who are partaking in this.
There are Jamaicans who are partaking of this. So let me answer, and I'm going to answer by drawing a parallel. But understand that the parallel that we're drawing is a currency that is similar but not same. The Lumi in its current form is a digital currency. When it's a digital currency, it means it's overseen by a central bank. and its supply, its distribution is monitored. So it's not sporadic. It's a little bit more predictable and different.
Mm-hmm.
We have to draw a similar parallel with the cryptocurrency that is Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So Bitcoin was created by someone from Asia, whether it is from Japan or Korea, South Korea,
Mm-hmm.
named Satoshi Nakamoto. So Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin. In addition to creating Bitcoin, he created a platform for Bitcoin to be traded
Mm-hmm.
or to be
Mm-hmm.
exchanged, so to speak. And that platform is called blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
What this platform does is facilitates the ledgering. So when we look at the current banking system, so let's say I have a bank account at Scotiabank, and I need to send money to a friend of mine who banks with the Bank of America in Brooklyn, New York. I go from my bank account, lodge it, do a wire transfer, so it goes from my bank account to Scotiabank's head office, to the head office of this to the central bank. They move from the central bank to the Federal Reserve, from the Federal Reserves to the head office of the receiving bank. Then it moves to the branch of the account where that money needs to go to. You see how many points it goes through?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yes.
the international banking system in its current form. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what cryptocurrency does is leapfrogs all of that and
Mm-hmm.
says, I'm doing business with Miss Moonchild. That's your name, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying, Miss Moonchild, you and I are doing some business. So you want me to come and mow your lawn. And you're
Mm-hmm.
going to charge me $20. You're going to have to pay me 20 Bitcoins for that. But when Bitcoin started, it was 10 cents. Pay me 20 Bitcoins for it. You said, okay. All right, you have your blockchain wallet? You say, yes, I have mine. I'm going to pay me my 20, you pay me. I come and mow your lawn.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an agreement between you and I. And let's
Okay.
understand, what is the aim of money? Money is a medium of exchange, it's a store
Mm-hmm.
of value, and a statement of account. Three
Mm-hmm.
fundamental things.
Mm-hmm.
So once it meets all of that, then it's money. We believe for it to be money, it means that some finance ministry or some international has to. No. Money is that agreement that exists between you and I, or a group of people, and another group of people. So when Bitcoin started, it started in East Asia,
Mm-hmm.
and it started trading amongst themselves.
Until it has expanded.
For this, then it went into the diaspora
Mm-hmm.
of the Asian diaspora in North America and other parts, and they
Mm-hmm.
traded amongst themselves
Yes.
until it got mainstream.
This is
Bitcoin
a
has
very
gotten mainstream to this day, and it
that it
does
is now
not
valued
have
more than the American dollar.
there you go, and it does not have the approval of the Federal Reserve, the Exchequer, you name it does not.
So is it the
So
same thing now we are looking forward with the Lumi? Is it the
so the,
same
the
thing?
founding father of the Lumi
Mm-hmm.
understood all of those things, and this is primarily the reason why it's a digital currency.
Okay.
So its operation,
I see
so
persons in Jamaica who are accessing the Lumi. What
they
is it?
are.
How are
So
they
so
accessing Lumi? Under
so and so let me
what
explain.
program?
So like blockchain,
Mm-hmm.
there is also other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, which was started
Mm-hmm.
by a Canadian Russian of Russian descent. An 18-year-old in Canada started it, but it's now being used all over the world, second to Bitcoin. And the platform that facilitates the trade is called Etherscan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for the Lumi, there was a similar platform created that facilitates the transaction and the ledgering that is called Swifin. and it was created by some Africans situated in South Africa and also in the UK, and they created this platform. So whenever you're dealing with the Lumi, it's about downloading a wallet when you go into your Google Play Store. When you have an Android device, with a phone or otherwise, and you download, go into the Google Play Store and you type ECO, the number 6, Lumi, and you download your wallet. It has all of the requirement of all of the modern day financial system, for example, which is most fundamental, which is KYC, which is a know your customer requirement. All of those things are involved, and you do it. You have your wallet, and when you have your wallet, you want to pay me Kenyama, you search for my name, Kenyama comes up, and you pay me, or I pay you. So that ledgering doesn't have any go-betweens. It goes from me to you.
I understand that. How do you access the Lumi though? How it comes into your wallet? How do you get it to use it to pay another person?
So how people access Lumi in its current form is that people have to find ways to earn it. So the African Diaspora Central Bank, which followed the initial Central Solar Reserve Bank was created, was that since October 2020, as a response to the global pandemic, they had created a global stimulus package, which was to ensure that everyone who was a wallet holder would receive 6.26 Lumi, which was equivalent to a $100 every month. And once you have that wallet, you get that every month. So people, that is the first means by which they have access to it. And it is from this Lumi that they get in their wallet that people start trading. And there are some of us who operate in organizations like the Lumineers, or with the State of the African Diaspora, or is working with the economic bloc. They get salaries that are in Lumi. So currently, the economic community of the 6th region has a president who is none other than Mr. Hugh Johnson, who is also the Vice Prime Minister of the State of the African Diaspora. AKA. So
the Jamaica Lumineers now.
The Jamaica Lumineers was essentially created by myself and Mr. Hugh Johnson. And Mr. Hugh Johnson taking lead, of course. It was created as a special purpose vehicle to handle matters of SOAD and the economic community of the 6th region. So the economic community of the 6th region focuses a lot on the indigenous communities. Certainly those of the Maroon communities, certainly those of the Quilombos in Brazil, certainly those of the Palenques in Colombia, and also the Maroons in Suriname, the Maroons in Dominica, and all other parts. The economic community of the 6th region are deeply involved in those.
Who are the people who can qualify for this stimulus, the stimulus check monthly in Lumi?
Once you're a holder of a Swiffin wallet, you qualify.
And persons could just go and download, as you say earlier, their Swiffin wallet.
It's as simple as that. Because the aim is, when Bitcoin was created, Bitcoin didn't have any value. Bitcoin wanted to create a means by which people could trade amongst themselves. No,
I understand.
You have to look at this in a much broader sense. One of the things that makes us, I always tell people, one thing that makes us harmonize, or we can identify with each other as Africans, is that we share one common characteristic. You know what that is? Unfortunately, is that when money comes into our communities, no matter where we're situated, we have that uncanny way of ensuring that money never stays.
It goes to
we are
someone
highly consumerist. But when you draw parallels with the Jewish community, the Chinese community, the Indian community, research will show you that when money stays in these communities, when money goes into these communities rather, they stay on average of 30 days.
In the community.
In the community, which means that when the money comes in and that person needs a pants, you say, well, I need a pants, I'm going around the corner to Master Joe, who is a tailor. He makes pants. The tailor, I need pants, but I'm going to Mr. Ribby because he sells cloth. And Mr. Ribby needs milk for his child, so he's going to that farmer who has cows and sells milk. And so money circulates within the community. So what has made Bitcoin so powerful is that it started in the Asian communities and moved to the diaspora. And it is the trade within the communities and then other people who are outside of the community that seeks to tap into it. And that's when it mushroomed.
So we need to have that understanding and have that farsightedness for the Lumi.
So the Lumi has the same vision to harmonize the global African family, both on the continent and in the diaspora. It's as simple as that.
I can tell persons who are watching that I have signed up for the stimulus package and I am watching my account grow. You say it started.
Have you received yours?
I have.
Say it again.
I have been receiving my Lumi stimulus package for the past 4 or 5 months.
Thank you.
I have been receiving and I'm watching it grow because my intention, Minister Brown, is to find that airline that's gonna accept Lumi and to pay my way in Lumi.
One of the things that we are doing is we are ultimately looking at those kinds of initiatives, certainly here.
Yes.
And we have found some entities in Jamaica that have actually started it. For example,
accepting the Lumi.
Mr. Hugh Johnson, he's been a pioneer in Jamaica, certainly with the rescue organic fertilizer that is purely organic. And you are able to purchase this in Lumi. He has a quota that he works with that you can purchase. If it goes beyond the quota, you may have to apply some fiat. But that is taking lead. There is certainly a restaurant in Mandeville that also takes Lumi. There are limits because in starting, people, you still have to exist and survive.
Yes.
But there are some visionaries. There are some people in media that we work very closely with who will do things for us in Lumi. These are people who get it. Who are people
so we have to start because people are going to say, "Let me want to buy this, I'm going to want to buy that," but you have to start somewhere.
Bitcoin never started being able to buy everything.
Exactly.
We have to start somewhere. Precisely. So if we understand that, but the first question everybody asks, where can I convert it? Where can I change it out?
That's all we want. Then when we change it out to Jamaica now, you're going to go down a mass, whatever, one of the Chinaman or one of the Indian, you change it out in Jamaica and you're going to spend it. And that is not the aim for it. It is for us to trade among ourselves and to build that economic power.
Precisely. So again, it is to also say to you that what is taking place in a compound is again unfortunate because let us face it, the Maroons share a very special place in our history that is really worth mentioning and worth credit being given. But there are some other aspects of their history that are not worth mentioning.
We have to mention it and we have to talk about it, but we passed there.
We are bigger than that. That time has passed. We are now moving forward. I think in Chief Samako's vision, it is really to start again from the Maroon community to move outwards.
Elsewhere.
The Lumi was never intended to be a currency that was domiciled and situated in the Maroon communities and nowhere else.
Right.
That was never the vision. The Maroon communities were to be the starting point, and the reality is they have done that. It was the starting point. It has now moved beyond that.
Just now you heard me say, I am watching my account grow, and I'm not troubling it at all. I'm not in no hurry for trouble it, because I want to see the airline. And you hear me mention the airline that is going to accept Lumi, an African airline, from a pay me airfare in Lumi to go to Africa. If it's 2 years from now, if it's 3 years from now, I am prepared to wait. I'm saying that because I'm saying that, Minister, because
one of the things that we are
I heard that there was a plan for an air
I was about to, yes, and one of the fundamental things that we want to do is to ensure one, and it serves three purposes. One, we wanted to create, we are, I should say, let me rephrase what I said. We have embarked on an initiative to have a chartered flight between Jamaica directly to Ghana. And it is to be done so purposefully, because when our foreparents left the continent, they came to the Caribbean directly. We didn't have any connections. We want to go back to Africa pretty much the same way we came. So that's one. We had a sponsor we engaged who was to undertake and is still doing it. But as you know, this whole experience has been an eye-opener for us, because it tells you the indifference that the international banking system has to Africa and dealing with anything that is inherently African. So when we see a young lady out of Sierra Leone that has a very well circulated video on TED Talks, where she said, why is it that the precious minerals of Africa that we have, when we have them, they are of no value. But when you extract them and take them to your country, you assume tremendous resource. Why is this so when we are the ones with all of the minerals? Well, I will tell you that the international banking system is very indifferent. We saw this playing out, and it has contributed significantly to our postponement of our trip. And I would say again, postponement. We are resolute, and we are working assiduously to ensure we have sought alternative arrangements which are working steadily and progressing as we would like them, as we would want it to be. And we believe that in the very near New Year, we will see this trip going to fruition. And I will say this, that for most of the people who are coming on the trip, once they are a member of the Jamaica Luminaire Secretariat, your attendance on this trip will be paid in the African Kingdom's Lumi.
Wow.
So I want to extend that invitation as the Deputy Chairman of the Lumi to you, that your desire to see you use your Lumi for a flight, I will extend that to you tonight in front of your listeners. That pass to give you a post in the Jamaica Luminaire Secretariat for the sole purpose that you will be able to use your Lumi. Because I believe what is fundamental and important for us is for someone to use their Lumi.
Yes, I am watching it grow every month.
We want to create examples for people to use their Lumi, for them to understand the importance for us to be trading amongst ourselves.
Among ourselves, yes.
And I think I want to stress on something we said earlier, that what makes us harmonize as Africans is that when you go on the communities of the continent of South America, of Central America, the Caribbean, and North America, and Europe, wherever we are as Africans, we situate, we have one common thread that is common in all our communities, is that when money goes in, it never stays.
Yes, and we have to change that. The money comes in our
That
community.
is what the creation of the Lumi was created to do, was to change that.
Change that, yes.
This is what we're about. We're not steeped in controversy and all of these things. We are trailblazers. We have no time for that. We have the unification of the global African family. We are pressing on with things that Bob Marley sang about, which is Africa Unite. That's what we're about.
Yes.
So,
I'm so happy to hear you, Minister. I'm going to tell you that I have signed up. I've signed up my husband. I've signed up my son. I also have signed up a few of my friends. Because if we're going to talk about trading, if we're going to talk about...
and start if it is trading amongst yourselves.
Yes.
Start, no. You have 6 pair of shoes, you want to get rid of one, don't throw it away. Sometime another friend might need it.
And
so what
you pay for it in Lumi, yes.
Just spend and pay your feet in Lumi. The truth of it, if you watch documentaries about how Bitcoin started, it was the very same way.
I know. But because as a people, we are used to holding on to things after it is accomplished. We are not so much.
I will put it in a better way. We frown upon our own innovation.
Ideas, yes.
We did it with Garvey. We did it when Marley innovated with music. Even Usain Bolt when he was running. Because after Usain Bolt won the World Junior Championships, and after a while he had some mishaps, rather than supporting him, we used to call him Mr. Quad because him be a quad every night dancing and him now turn out to nothing. But when he broke the world record, everybody was darling.
Yeah.
Nobody
we have
looked
that
at
about
him.
us.
Bolt will tell you that himself.
We have that about us.
We have that about us.
And it is something that we have to get rid of, yeah.
We have to get over it. The truth of it is, it's not important to dwell on our deficiencies. It is for us to take advantage of our strengths. And
yes.
This is what is fundamental right now.
And the growth that we want to experience and where we see us going and how we are going to reach there. I want to encourage persons that be a part of this. It is history in the making.
It is history in the making.
Don't wait and say, somebody did hear about it and I could have signed up. Because guess what? If it is that we can access this currency in a way now where it is provided for us as a stimulus package.
I don't want to be political, but I want to use examples because sometimes I think when people get examples, people can relate. There was a minister of government. He's no longer. He's in the opposition. Philip Palwell. And I remember when he was minister of, I think it was telecommunications or commerce, one of those. And he had proposed the whole thing of call centers creating 40,000 jobs and so on and so on. And he was laughed at. It was laughed at. Foolishness, 40,000. Where did the job they go there? Because at the time, the free zones and the 807 factories had closed down. And people had linked that to activities of the government when it wasn't really true, because with the whole thing of globalization, Jamaica couldn't compete with the sweatshops that existed in Asia. It was far cheaper. They would employ child labor. We couldn't compete. We couldn't subject our people to that kind of labor. We have strong trade unions. All of these things just would have been impossible. And today, what was said then in 2021, and I think that time it was sometime around 1994. Today, the call centers are employing way more than 40,000 people.
Call centers are the things now. Call center are the thing
That's
now.
the thing. And
University
so I'm saying
students
we
working in
must
call
never
centers.
see things happening
Yeah.
in its embryonic stage.
Yeah, we
and
frown
believe
upon
it's-
on ideas.
We frown upon our own innovation, and that's
Yes.
the challenge we're having.
We just
It
want
was
to see
just
it happen
today that I
overnight.
spoke to someone and I said, one of the things that we need to know is that, unfortunately, and I want to use this opportunity to officially knock the banking system in Jamaica. And if it means that they are not to be held solely responsible and the banking regulations may be the reason, whosoever it is, who the cap fit, let them wear it. But the reality of the situation is innovation is something that is snuffed out. In America, when you see advertisements on television with that little thing on the top right hand corner that said, as seen on TV ads, many people don't know that when you have a car and it has something that is rusty, some screw that you can't pull, and you need to spray something on it to help you to pull that screw, what you're going to spray it with? It's WD-40. WD-40 started as something someone developed that couldn't bring it to market, but use these little avenues that the United States have to create these as seen on TV ads. Even when the rapper 50 Cent made him first little money in rap and wanted to invest in something, he saw a man with a drink called vitamin water and he invested in it and pinka-panka with it, as we would say in Jamaican parlance.
Pinka-panka.
And from there, Coca-Cola approached him and bought that for somewhere around either $2-3 billion.
Look at that.
The rest is history.
History.
Then when Dr. Dre, after Death Row Records mash up and he went on his own, someone approached him with an earphone named The Beats. He took it on. Apple bought it for almost $4 billion. Today he's a billionaire. That's what
sir.
They have something that engenders and embraces innovation.
And we frown upon it in Jamaica, and it is something that we are to look at, something that we are to desist from doing, and give people a chance to thrive.
We're killing ourselves. Many of the youngsters in the inner cities, we need to change our inner cities to winner cities.
Yeah.
Our inner cities have many of the youngsters that have ideas.
There's a lot of ideas too.
Where are the avenues where these ideas can be brought to something?
Yes.
It doesn't exist. The current banking system doesn't give any loan for small businesses in any meaningful way.
No. As a matter of fact, for you to go and open an account, you have to have how much money to open a simple account.
Yeah, they give you credit for 1% per week.
Yeah.
And this is why I am where I am today.
We know.
With the Lumi moving forward, the Lumi also have within it credit programs for people in business.
I wish we could see the idea with this thing, and I know it is going to grow upon Jamaicans. We just have to put it out there more. And this is one opportunity, this is one platform.
When I go on programs like this,
you really have to put it out. Yes.
When I get the privilege, and thank you for the invitation to come on programs like this, is where I get, this is my forum.
Yeah.
Because you had indicated to me you have a following of 4,000 people. Many of these small programs are the programs that are giving mainstream media a run for their money. Because it gives me an avenue where we can speak.
Yes.
Mainstream media won't find me interesting because the Lumi is dead, because BOJ has issued 4 or 5 articles in the newspaper to tell people that it's not authorized.
There was a recent one.
Myself, why, if you know it's not authorized and it can't be used, why you need to tell people in the public? that it is not so.
And I think
What
that is the reason why
hinders-
people had
what hinders
questions.
you, Miss Moonchild, what hinders you from having money in your digital wallet to give and send it to me to do something for you? BOJ can't tell you what to do.
Absolutely nothing can stop that.
We
Nothing
have
can
a
stop it.
simple mantra in
Yeah.
Jamaica Lumineers that we operate by. And let me say it for everyone here. We operate in the digital space and we love it.
Yeah. Nothing can stop you or stop me
Nothing hinders
from
me.
trading with you with the
You
Lumi.
tell me if
Bank
the
of Jamaica
Federal
can't-
Reserves can stop Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin,
They can't
all
stop
of
it.
these currencies from trading. They
They
can't.
cannot.
So why is it that BOJ, of all the
cannot.
things they want to do,
They cannot.
need to go issue statement in the media?
They cannot.
No.
They cannot. They
Because
cannot.
why?
They cannot.
What we're doing, we're killing our own innovation. But
they cannot do it.
I have no fights with BOJ.
It will come to
respect
fruition,
them.
Minister.
Let them do what they're doing, and I
you do
will
what you'll do.
what I need to do.
Exactly. Can you believe
No
that it
stone
is
thrown.
2 hours done? 5 minutes we have left to 8 o'clock. I tell you, by the time we start to talk, the time is just going to go
But I
away.
believe we have covered a fair bit, and I believe your viewers and listeners should be
Understands pretty much.
edified with.
Yeah.
Because I've
thank you.
actually tried to not be as animated as I usually am, and I've tried to speak even more slow and to be deliberate in the information that I've disseminated.
It has been an interesting evening for me personally. I have been very, very clear in wanting to be a part of this kind of economic activity. And when I say I am watching my Lumi account grow, I am quite serious about it. I'm in no hurry to go and trade with anybody right now. I want to watch it and see it grow because my intention really is to travel into Africa with paying my Lumi to that airline that is going to take that Lumi. I'm dead serious about it. So I watch it grow every 29th of the month. I check in quick and I see if the Lumi drop. And I say, yes, it is growing. It is growing.
It's there.
It is there. It is there. Yes.
Yes.
And I'm happy. I'm watching it grow. And I'm saying it costs nothing, my friends. And if America gives stimulus package to their people, and we have the African Kingdom Federation now that is offering stimulus package, it won't be forever. It's what, for 3 years, Minister, or 2?
It ends October 2023. It started October 2020.
Yes, so when it ends,
we must not measure it based on what we can convert it to.
I'm not going to be converting mine.
It is having it in our possession and what we have the ability to use
to
it
do with
for.
it. I won't be converting mine.
It now represents an instrument that we can do things amongst ourselves.
Yes. Thank you so much,
that's
sir.
where it starts.
Really an interesting evening, and we really have learned a lot. And you're going to be hearing from me, and I'm sure at the end of the program,
I avail myself.
I know. Yes.
I avail myself for any questions that your listeners may have, because I know after programs maybe I have sparked some
I'll be talking to you with those questions because persons had questions, and we'll have more questions now. But we want to thank you.
I'm here to field your questions. The only thing I'll say now is that for the questions that I'll be fielding, I'll be giving you very verbal responses via voice note, because I don't know, but I tend to be very critical of myself. I don't think I'm the best speaker or the best orator, but I always
we'll talk for a long time.
I get a bombardment of questions, so
they're going to come, and I'm going to be continuing with them later on. I'll send them to you, and of course, we're looking forward for those answers. We want to say thanks to you. Yes, we want to say thanks to you, and of course, we want to know that the Jamaica Lumineers Secretariat it is here in Jamaica. And I can say that I'm a member now of the secretariat. We're gonna do everything.
Yes.
after.
Yes, I'll ask
So,
Rua Harrison to speak
yes,
with you
yes,
in this regard.
yes.
She's
Thank you so
the
much,
director
Minister.
of outreach.
We'll be talking
Yes,
more, but for this evening,
indeed.
you have opened our eyes, and we are saying thanks for giving us all of the information that we wanted. You have cleared up a lot of things, and we want to say thank you so much. We will be talking. We also want to say thanks to all of the persons who have tuned in and who will be watching the program later on, because
Indeed.
some persons are not able to tune in, but they watch it later and watch the replay and the rebroadcast. Thank you so much. Have an awesome rest of the Friday evening into the weekend,
Yes,
sir, and we will be
indeed.
talking definitely.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. I'm
All the
really
very
happy.
best.
I'm always
Yes.
happy for these opportunities. Thank
Take
you.
care
All the
now.
best, dear listeners.
Yes.
Thank
Good,
you.
good.
Bye-bye.
8 o'clock, people. Things are happening here in Jamaica, but some things we don't know and we don't hear. And Cultural Mix will bring the information to you. We are saying for this year program, was really an eye opener for me. And I know persons will be talking to me later on, because if it is that you want to sign up and to be a part of this, where you can actually access your Lumi and get your Lumi in your account, you really can talk to me. People, enjoy your weekend now. It has been an awesome Friday evening in your cool like ice box, but we enjoy the evening. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, everyone who have tuned in. This evening really was a different kind of cultural mix. We're gonna go out with who we going out with? Who we going out with? Whichever song we just it's news time right upon us. Have a wonderful weekend, folks. Bev Moonchild saying, take care, all the very best. Glad that you were here with us. Take care. One love.
Just want the time to make me slow dance. You're moving too fast for me. The vibe is right to make me slow dance.
Is owned and operated by Communistation Company Limited, located in Stuart Castle, Duncan's Trelawney, Jamaica. We broadcast on FM 96.7 locally and is heard worldwide on Fit FM.